I tell you, my brother works at Amazon now.
As like a
working in the warehouse. Not a driver, but like,
how does he like it so far?
He's been there 3 weeks and he's loving it apparently.
Oh, good.
But he's like counting down the days till he gets his 3,000 signing bonus.
Mm-hmm. Does he get pee breaks?
I think so.
That's the joke. Is that Amazon doesn't give.
Oh really? Yeah, I know they're hard worked, but
yeah.
I'm coming from a place like you don't work hard enough, so fuck it.
Yeah,
work harder. Okay.
You want a raise? Grind it out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine.
Did you get a signing bonus when you started working? No, so fuck it.
Let me tell you when I started working. I remember I did more work and got paid less, but that's a different podcast.
That's a different family business.
You know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's horse shit, man.
It's whatever.
Dumb. Anyway. All right. You done?
I'm just getting started, baby. Go for it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic episode of The Fake Philosophers.
Another fantastic. You wanted it. We're giving it
because they're always fantastic.
They're pretty fantastic.
So we just keep. I feel like right now, to our 9 dedicated listeners.
Tell me.
I feel like we have a good podcast.
Yeah, I feel like this is pretty much perfect.
Yes, as perfect as it can be. It could be maybe more perfect.
Pretty much perfect.
Yeah, pretty much perfect. No, so I was actually because I cut them together at least because we have to cut multiple clips together and stuff, and so I listened to them, and I think we have something good here. Just people don't know about it.
Yeah. We gotta,
tell your friends.
Got to be sharing.
Yeah.
We got to get famous, and then
we have to get famous.
And then once we're famous, then people will be like, you know what, this is actually pretty good.
What we have to do is come up with a really, really controversial opinion about something.
Yeah.
Not that we even believe it, but we just need to say it. And then make that clip go viral. And then tons of people stop watching the podcast.
I mean, if you listen to the last episode.
If one of us could get on CNN.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do. I got some fun family. I could probably make it work. We'll see.
I do too.
Yeah. Or, you know what the other option would be? Is to come up with just a great, gimmick or segment or something that can we got Mitch's lists, which is it's
there.
It's there. It's getting the 8 o'clock slot right now. We'll see how it does in sweeps. But we need a segment. Maybe we'll read shit about a real life murder, and we'll be a couple middle-aged women and read about murder, and then we'll get really famous that way. Or maybe we'll get fired from a show.
I actually like that podcast.
I do too. I love it. But yeah.
on our road trip recently, we would actually spend 90% of the time listening to that shit.
My Favorite Murder?
Oh no, we were listening to Crime Junkies.
Oh, a different one. I'm talking about My Favorite Murder.
It's the same
My
shit.
Favorite Murder.
It's probably the same shit. I think they actually talked about My Favorite Murder too.
Okay, because my wife listens to My Favorite, and
it's probably the same fucking
loves
thing.
it. And I listen to it, and damn it if I don't love it too. It's really good.
It's one of those things. At first, I was like, "Fine, we can listen to your fucking
okay,
podcast."
me too.
and then we'd get to our stop, and I'm like, "She's like, babe, what are you doing?" I'm like, "There's 3 minutes left."
Hold on.
Or we stopped for the night at a hotel. And then the next morning we got on the road, and I was like,
"Yeah,
hey, can you put? I kind of want to know what happened to John from New Zealand."
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Anyway,
yeah, or we can just get drunk and play Minecraft or Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. But or some kind of segment. Speaking of which,
King of the Segway, Mitch.
I set you up.
ITL award-winning
Segway winner.
Segway King, Mitch sets us up to the new segment.
Yeah, my certificate said Segway winner.
Segway winner.
Ultimate Segway winner, yeah.
To a new segment we're going to call EverAfter.
Are you going to put it up there?
I
really hope you do.
I hope we do now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Have to.
EverAfter. So to where we're going to look at...
You're going to put it down here, aren't you?
And just... Instead of going that one right now.
I just ruined the joke because that would have been funny.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
we'll see.
New segment.
Yes, EverAfter, where we're going to... it could be any work of fiction, TV show, movie, book.
What about the movie EverAfter?
I don't think I've seen that one. But yeah, it could be that one. It could be any work of fiction with a story. And what we're going to do is look at it, briefly remind the audience of what the story was, and then talk about, realistically, what would happen after.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to be a lot of rom-coms.
So a little context. Mike was telling me about this idea an hour ago.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going into it blind, but I'm loving it. Let's go. Yes, and
let's go. So for this first one, we're going to talk about the movie Armageddon. I recently watched it.
Michael Bay classic.
One of Michael Bay's better ones. I feel like that's one of the ones that like people are like, yeah, good movie.
You know what?
Like honestly, like people trashed it a lot, but like it's an enjoyable, good movie.
Tangent. I don't think Michael Bay deserves all the hate. He deserves some hate, but a lot of his movies I actually really enjoy.
No,
he makes a product and he sells it.
You know the brand.
Yes.
That's fair.
And I was thoroughly surprised with Pain and Gain. Thoroughly surprised. And I really enjoyed that movie.
So Pain and Gain, I wasn't surprised. I was surprised 13 Hours.
Okay, yeah.
When I found out, I didn't even know.
Wait, he directed that?
Yeah, that was Michael Bay.
I thought he just executive produced.
I think he directed it. Like,
okay, we'll check that
I
later.
watched it.
Okay.
Quick tangent. I watched it and I was like, I thoroughly enjoyed this because they kept the politics out of it and everything.
Right,
It was
right.
a movie.
It was a good movie.
And then later I found out that he directed it and I was like,
what?
Oh, and then recapping, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
No, I know you have personal reasons to dislike him because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yes.
So, and that'll be I think your next rant. You'll have to go on.
I could
redig that.
I could
and do that.
I
That'd be pretty
could.
funny.
I absolutely. That's okay.
Write that down.
Look forward to the next
forward to
month.
that rant. Yeah. Okay.
Why he destroyed TMNT. Anyway,
Okay.
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
The tangent show.
Yeah.
That's what we should have called it. Armageddon. So to recap,
Get you previously on Armageddon.
if you didn't see it, yes, previously on Armageddon. That's what it should be called. Previously on.
that would be pretty funny.
That might be a good.
Anyway.
Well, what do you guys think it should be called? EverAfter or previously
on Armageddon.
Armageddon. It's about asteroid coming to Earth. Government. This is off top. Did you ever hear about Ben Affleck's commentary on the movie?
No.
He trashes the fuck out of it.
Really?
So, because he kind of said, he's like, we're NASA, we're geniuses. Let's go to a bunch of fucking diggers. But the whole time he's just trashing it, apparently. I didn't listen to it, but I read about how he trashed it. Anyway. But so, yeah, NASA comes up with a plan to land on the asteroid. And to destroy it, they have to put a nuke inside it.
To drill down.
So they have to drill into it. So to do that, they go to the world's best driller, Bruce Willis.
Who's working on an oil rig at sea.
At sea, in the Pacific, dirty. NASA goes and finds him, and they want him to train their team how to drill better.
Right.
And this is where Ben Affleck has I did listen to this bit. He's like, no, can't go with your guys. If you want to drill, we got to have my guys. My guys are the best goddamn drillers in the world. So NASA says, okay. And so they bring in this fucking horrible team of drillers. I mean, they're good at drilling, but they're all fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And quick review of the movie while we're at it.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's a gem. It's a gem.
We'll quickly review the movie. That'll be the format.
I think in the first 10 minutes of the film, they're like, look, fuck you, go with it, okay? We know.
It is one of those movies
know.
where it's like there should be a moment where everyone goes, so we're going to get this group of drillers to go to this asteroid to save the world. And then everyone just looks at the camera and looks back. And that should be the moment of like, we know.
Yeah.
We know. Okay?
We'll call that a hot tub time machine moment. Yeah. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
There's that great where Craig Johnson looks at Craig Robinson. Robinson looks at the camera as he says it must be some kind of hot tub time machine.
I think he does the quick one though. He's like, hot tub time machine.
And then looks, yeah. And it's like, that's when we know.
You're
okay,
just like,
it's stupid.
okay. You're like, okay,
we know it's stupid. Just go with it.
There should be that moment in every movie.
Yes. Every movie.
But anyway, so that'll be the format. A quick review of the movie, then we'll go into it.
Okay, so they're drilling.
So they get this ragtag group of drillers.
By some fucking miracle, they launched 2 space shuttles.
2 space shuttles because they want to back
to
up.
go around the moon.
To slingshot.
Because that's they heard that in Apollo 13, and they were like, "Oh, slingshot."
And
that's good.
they called it the coyote roadrunner move.
Right.
I believe they said it.
Steve Buscemi was in that too.
Said that.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
So they slingshot around, come back to the asteroid. One shuttle crashes, but long story short, it works. Bruce Willis sacrifices himself to make sure the nuke goes off. In the meantime, Ben Affleck plays AJ. Like the young guy who's like the next best driller in the world, but you guys just get along with him, and he's fucking Bruce Willis's daughter.
Yeah.
And so
to say he's literally fucking her daughter. He's not. This isn't Mike saying that Ben Affleck is Bruce Willis's daughter. No, he's literally fucking.
Oh, he is fucking Bruce Willis's daughter, played by Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Sorry, I said Liz. Liv Tyler.
Same thing.
And so before he dies, he gives this heartfelt speech to his daughter, saying like, "You and AJ are gonna get married." Blah blah blah. He dies. The rest of the crew gets back. And then during the credits, you see Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler getting married, and the survivors are all happy. Fade to black. Fast forward 5 years.
Armageddon 2.
Here's what I think after watching that.
Okay.
So one, I actually read an article about someone who survived cancer. And you've read this about a lot of people who survive death-defying things. Like
near-death experience.
Yeah, and
There's a show called I Survived.
I've seen that, or I should have died too. I said.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that
that's a good
one's
one. Anyway, where they come out of this realization. I think I read one article where someone said he was taking a shower and the water was cold, but he didn't even care. He was just like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
But he said like about 6 months later, that started to fade. And he started becoming like that cynical person. Like before you're like, oh my God, I'm just happy to be alive.
Yeah.
But then it started to fade away to where he was just normal again. And he's kind of like, oh, I miss just that feeling of like, what could bother me? I'm alive.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to happen. So eventually they're going to be like, we saved the world. And then a year or two later, no one's going to give a shit about them anymore. Because they're going to be, they're going to be fucking on a cloud. They're going to be so fucking
They're
happy.
going to start blaming them for all the asteroids that hit before. Like, remember, like at the beginning of Armageddon, there was all the smaller asteroids.
Someone's going to bring that up.
Yeah,
Why
didn't you go sooner? Why didn't you do that? Look at all the lives lost because you guys failed.
Yeah, because no one detected this shit. But there's that. But specifically, I think Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler, they're going to get divorced. There's no way they fucking make it. Ben
Affleck has all the makings of like a chronic alcoholic. Like
yeah,
his character is like,
absolutely.
Not Ben Affleck, his character.
Yeah,
but,
AJ.
I don't know, maybe Ben Affleck. But anyway.
Well, yeah, actually, but no, because I remember I think Bruce Willis said it, that it wasn't that they were in love, it was that they lived on a rig and that was the only choice.
Exactly.
So now it was sexy, it was fun. Like they're fucking, her dad's upstairs. You know what I mean? It's sexy. Now your dad's gone. He gave you permission now, so it's not even like
the thrill's gone.
Yeah, and so you get married, and I guarantee you 2 or 3 years later, she's like, "This guy's irresponsible as fuck."
How'd you get fired from a rig? This is like, you know what? I'll say it. Bottom of the barrel kind of shit, and you got fired. What?
Like he told you 100 times how to do your goddamn job. How did you not do it? Why does he like you so much? He kept you on board for so many years. Like, I think that the hot romance is gonna wear off.
Yeah.
Now that dad's gone, dad gave his permission.
Yeah. Now by this time they had 3 kids.
Yeah, because they were fucking hard.
Yeah.
That's survival.
It made it through.
That's survival fucking.
It made it through the contraceptive. It was.
Yeah.
That's how much.
So it's sad, and I'm to all the women who watch that movie, and they're like, "Oh, that's such a romantic ending." And they're running on the strip, and they kiss, and you see the wedding, and I'm like, I think that relationship fails in 3 years.
All right, yeah. What about the other characters? Anything happened to them?
I think Steve Buscemi
made it back.
Lives happily ever after.
I think he died of a crack overdose like the next week.
But he lived happily ever after. Regardless of how he goes, that man lives happily ever after.
Yeah, because he got money, and they don't have to pay taxes.
They don't have to pay taxes.
Right?
I'm sure someone covered his debt to whoever.
Yeah.
Well, I know he was happy.
He was. Yeah, obviously my favorite character.
He was great because he was
his little when they're trying to draw straws on who's going to be the bomb guy.
He's like, I'll do it.
He's like, I know you guys think I'm crazy, but I really want to do this, and they just ignore him. That was one of the best jokes.
He was actually probably the best because he was like that kind of borderline drug addict, alcoholic pervert, but he was a fucking genius, and he knew he was telling NASA people, like putting them in their place.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, that's right, with the Rubik's cube. He's like, he just set it down. He's like, piece of cake.
But even when they land, and he's like, hey, look, fucking genius, you landed us on a piece of metal. Or whatever he said. He's like, you landed us on iron. Like, we're supposed to land 15 fucking kilometers away.
Yeah.
He's like, how do you know that? He's like, I'm a fucking genius. That's literally his line. I'm a fucking genius.
Was it rated? Was Armageddon rated R?
He didn't say fucking.
Oh, okay.
I think it was PG-13.
It was okay. I was trying to remember.
I think he just said, I'm a genius. That's why.
Yeah.
But no, he definitely lives happily ever after. The Russian, I think what he says, I'm going to go home a Russian hero. I keep saying that I'm a hero. I think he went home to Russia a hero. And I think, I predict that he tries to ride that train as far as it'll go, and then Putin kills him.
Putin.
Because he destroyed the International Space Station.
And too much spotlight too.
Too much spotlight, bring too much attention. He probably wrote a tell-all book about how he survived the International Space Station blowing up, and how he went on this mission with the Americans, how he saved AJ, how he did all this shit. And Putin's probably like, I'm tired of this guy.
There's too much information about how shitty our station was.
Yeah. And so Putin probably liked him at first, like, look how good Russia is.
Photo op.
Yeah, until this guy,
and then they disappeared.
He went too far.
Yeah,
Putin was nervous, and Putin got rid of him.
Yeah, yeah. What about the big guy?
No, Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, because he actually passed away.
Well, the character.
Oh, the character. Yeah,
I think it wasn't Rockhound. What was his name? Rockhound, I think, was Buscemi.
Okay.
I forgot.
See, I haven't seen this movie in years, so
I just watched the other night. Yeah. Michael Clark Duncan. I think he's probably buddies with AJ Ben Affleck.
He's still on his motorcycle doing cross country, like getting into an adventure.
He's cool. He's a free spirit. He's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another great scene is the helicopters chasing him on the motorcycle.
That entire montage of the FBI trying to grab everybody was great.
Great.
But no, I think Michael Clark Duncan is happy. He's out there. He's riding his bike. He's just like cool.
The what's his name? The white coach from Remember the Titans.
Will Patton.
Yeah, his character. He survived, right? He made it back down. Okay,
and then it's like his ex-wife or his girlfriend.
Right, his ex-wife and his kid. He definitely like reconnected. Same kind of thing as AJ. Like they got together, and he immediately went back to the bottle like a month later,
or in gambling or whatever he was doing. Yeah, I think I would give him 6 months.
6 months is
because there's that shock value of like I survived. I'm gonna be a better person.
Right.
You have to give some that time to wear off.
But without Jesus, it's only temporary. And
I would say 6 months to a year, he goes back to gambling. In that montage, they find him in a casino.
Yeah.
Because I think even Bruce Willis says you'll find him at the craps tables at Caesar's Palace.
Right. Yeah, so he goes back to it. They all go back to their vices.
So he goes back to it. Michael Clark Duncan, it's not a vice, but he goes back to it. Fucking Steve Buscemi goes back to it, and he's like, "That's fine, though. Like, that's exactly what I wanted."
Short lifespan, but hey, he's
living it hard. I think the only person aside from so Michael Clark Duncan comes out on top because he's just kind of like, I'm living my life, I'm doing my thing. What's his name? The captain of the crew. He's one of my favorite actors. I always forget his name.
Yeah, he was in Prison Break, and
I think he was
the white wiry guy, right? He was in Dark Knight at the beginning.
Yeah, as the bank guy. And then he was in Pearl Harbor at the beginning.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, he played the dad. That's right.
He was in Black Hawk Down. What is it? I'm not gonna look at my phone because I should know his fucking name. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's that guy from that thing.
But he's one of my favorite actors. I love him.
Yeah.
I think he was like the only sober-minded person.
He was the clear-headed one. Yeah, he went right back to work. He went back to his work at the government. I think he was like,
this was great.
Yeah.
He went home and fucked his wife. Like, good. Good. But he
made a few more kids.
And he forced her into twins. That's how hard he gave it to her.
God, I could see him like he probably had one of those jobs where he saves the world like annually
all the time.
Yeah, and this was one of them.
I think he went home that night, and his wife was just like, "Oh my God, babe, you realize you saved the world? Like, I just want to fuck you." And he's like, can you just give me a second?" Like he doesn't even. He's like,
doesn't phase.
She's like, "Babe, you saved the world. Like everyone's alive because of you."
Whatever.
Yeah, we have beer in the fridge.
I guess I got another raise. Yeah. He's just bored with it all.
Like they gave me a day off. I don't even know what I'm going to do to myself.
You know what's amazing? You mentioned, and I mean, I feel like that was good for EverAfter.
Sure.
If that was good.
I think we covered all the.
That was pretty much.
Billy Bob Thornton, I think.
Oh, Billy Bob, yeah.
I think he walks away happy.
Same kind of thing. Same life. He saves the world annually, and he goes back to what's the next.
I think kind of depressing with him though. I think because he bonded so much with Bruce Willis and the daughter.
Yeah.
That they're just gonna go away, and he's kind of like, all right.
Well, everyone just forgets about Billy Bob.
I think he's that guy though.
Yeah.
That he probably deals with all these people, and they just walk away, and he's like, all right, cool. It's like, anyway, you're moving on. Yeah.
It was funny you mentioned Armageddon because something I rewatched the other day was Stargate. Did you ever see Stargate?
Yeah, it's been a while. But
Kurt Russell and
Spader,
David Spader, yeah,
James Spader,
David Spader. I always do that. I want
to see a face mix now between David Spade and James Spader.
I'll work on that character. That'll be like a very ironic, sarcastic guy.
Yeah, and his cadence has to be kind of off.
Oh man. I'll work on that. That's a workshop.
All right.
But anyway, no, but I watched that and it was like I'm watching it and I'm like, what does this remind me of? It reminds me of Armageddon. They go into this place with a bomb for some fucking reason. And
that was such a bizarre movie.
Yeah.
I never watched the show.
No, me neither.
I heard the show was okay. But I rarely say I'd like to see a remake of something. I would like to see a remake of that.
Stargate, yeah.
Because it just, I only watched it the one time.
It was a brilliant concept.
No, I thought it was just fucking weird. Mm-hmm. I think the idea was there.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
Yeah. They get Spader back, but
they get a sequel instead. Yeah. They go back. Or wait, fuck! I forgot this goddamn story.
Yeah. No. Anyway, but yeah, just watch that. But
so recent show, been out for some time now, but we're going to talk about it because
it's everyone's talking about it, so we figure we fucking might as well.
Squid Game.
turns out it's in another language, so I couldn't understand shit.
I didn't even watch it. So, you know what? Actually, I got really fucking mad at myself. So I'm not against subtitles. I'm not against them at all.
Right.
But when I started watching it, I was actually on the road trip I took. I started watching on the road trip because I'm a night owl. So the lady would go to sleep, and I would just stay up and I'd do something.
That's funny. I'd put like shows on while I drive too. That's funny.
Well, no, like she would be asleep in the hotel room.
Oh, I don't do it when I drive.
No.
Shit.
I'm just watching TV.
Shit.
No, but so I would start watching it, and I eventually stopped because she was interested, and we started watching it together. But so I didn't know or didn't know there was an option for subtitles. Oh. So I got the dubbed.
Oh, okay. You know what's funny? To speak to that is we started watching it with the dubbed. Like we turned it on, it was automatically in English dubbed. And we're like, it's kind of, do you want to try subtitles? So we switched to subtitles. But with the action, we switched back to the English. I decided just to go with it.
So I can see that, but some of their English dubs were so fucking annoying.
It's always the case. Always the case.
There was some of them worked fine.
Yeah.
Like the North Korean chick, I'm just ahead of time, I can't remember any of their names. I'm horrible at names in this movie.
Me neither, yeah.
But the chick from North Korea who's kind of quiet, her dub was fucking spot on in my opinion.
That was pretty good.
Even the main guy, 456, his dub was pretty good. But like the crazy bitch,
oh god, yeah.
Her dub was so annoying.
Terrible.
So annoying.
It's already like a borderline character. You're gonna hate it already. But you give it
She was horrible. And then
bad.
even so the cop that went in undercover, his dub was pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
The criminal guy, he was kind of
which criminal guy?
Kind of heavier dude. That she slams through the glass. He like has sex with the crazy chick.
Yeah. The mob, the triad looking.
Yeah,
guy,
his was kind of number one. The old guy. His was okay.
I like that. Yeah.
But
anyway, so, I mean,
I wish I didn't know there was an option. By the time I realized there was an option, it was kind of too late because I was already used to this.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I tried it and I was like, too late.
It's rough. Sometimes, I usually prefer the subtitle, because because you hear the inflection in the actors and all that stuff, and the English dubs are 99% shite. There's a few animes out there that have really good voice acting.
I feel like animes you can get away with it more because it's not the human.
But it's rare to find an English dub that's really good. The one example I can think of a live action movie that was English dubbed, I forget what it was called. Oh, it might have been no, but it was a French movie, and that one French actor who was I can't remember his name. He was in Godzilla.
Janae Russo?
Yeah.
Jacques Russo.
Yeah. He was the main character.
Sure.
That guy. He was the main character in this French film that they put an English dub on, and he voiced his own.
So he knew the inflection.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He speaks English, so he did the voiceover for himself in the movie, which was kind of.
And I think that makes a difference, though, because then you know the inflections of everything you're trying to say. You know what's going on. Because I think especially that crazy bitch, she
just wasn't.
Some of it didn't even.
It was all one register. It was all.
But you could even tell, sometimes I almost felt like she wasn't watching the person because sometimes because she was over the top, obviously, but then even when she come down, the voice would still be up, and it just didn't match. It didn't all match. And but anyway, the dubs aside, I thought the show, especially in let's call it the battle royale genre.
Yeah. Because there's a few of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at Hunger Games, Battle Royale, The Condemned, all these movies.
And then there's the levels kind of movies, like The Game with was it Mike Douglas. Anyway.
Sure. Yeah. But I thought it was a unique take, especially because the whole concept that they could vote out.
Yeah.
And then the concept of them all coming back and how it actually worked. Really it wasn't unrealistic. It was good. This makes sense.
I believe that, yeah.
So it was a really unique take.
Yeah.
It was very... I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really well thought out story.
Yeah. So I decided to watch it finally because I kept seeing the memes for it. And it was one of those okay, I should probably just go ahead and do it. And I originally thought, it's going to be one of those I'm going to put on while I play Minecraft. Mm-hmm. It'll be in the background because I already know what's going to happen. And it's just one of those formulaic whatevers. I'm just going to put it on in the background. I've seen enough of the memes and the references, and it looked really creepy, especially the red light, green light, thing.
Oh, yeah.
Looked really creepy. Mm-hmm. So I thought, before we started watching it was going to be like a horror-esque, suspense kind of movie. My wife doesn't like those kind of movies, so she was like, you could probably watch it without me. But one fateful Saturday morning, we're like, do you want to try Squid Game? It's middle of the day. We leave the lights on. Let's watch it. ended up watching the whole show in one day.
No, I get it.
Not because it was that good. It was just because like, let's.
But no, but I think it was interesting though, to where I think I would have watched it in one day if we weren't traveling.
Right. Yeah.
And let me tell you, just before we move on to it, that red light, green light scene.
Yeah.
Itself. If we want to get like down deep in like the whole like theater storytelling, hipster, the deep in the content, like the themes and the content, that fucking scene was so dope.
Okay. You worried me. I was gonna say like it was amazing. Don't talk shit. It was perfect.
That scene, because if you're thinking about just themes, metaphors, that scene was dope as fuck.
I would say because all that was in the first episode.
Yeah.
The first episode, if it ended there, I'd have been happy because the whole first episode I thought was as near to perfect as it can get.
Well, that scene alone, to like I said, to go into the whole like themes and context.
Yeah.
That episode, like that scene, was such a metaphor for so much shit.
Yeah.
Because if you've watched the show, obviously, like one person got shot and they're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Then as soon as the next person got shot, everyone fucking panicked, ran.
Yeah.
What if everyone just stayed the fuck still and chilled? But like just that scene where everyone panicked, trying to run.
Everyone's getting shot. Oh my God. Yeah.
And like that's such a metaphor.
Yeah.
For panic.
Yeah.
And especially in today's environment.
Yeah.
Like it's such a metaphor for panic and like irrational thinking. And it was such like it. But even at that moment, I was like, oh my God,
this is happening. Like no one ever did this before. I don't think I've ever seen this.
Yeah, because even in my head, of course, as watchers, I'm like, why aren't these idiots just not moving?
Because I would have ran.
Because in my head, watching, I'm like, why are they running? The game is just stop. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
But if you were there and gunshots were going off,
no way,
you might be one of those fucking people.
Right.
Like, and it was such like. For the context of the show, it worked obviously.
Yeah.
But for the actual metaphor of what like that scene can mean on a larger scale was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
If it was done on purpose or not.
Yeah, I thought it would have been an amazing. It would have made an amazing short film if everyone got shot except the one guy and he was last, and so he won, and that's where the show ended. Like if it all ended on the first game, if they just like, all panicked and they're like, "Whoa," that would have been fun.
So,
but the other scene in the first episode that I thought was perfect was the train stop scene.
Yeah.
That I have a feeling, I'll look it up to see if it's true. Probably not. But I have a feeling that was a short film that they wrote the whole show around.
Oh, interesting.
Just the do you want money, whatever, the whole thing. And by the end where he finally wins and the line, oh yeah, the money. The realize what, because he just wanted to slap the guy back.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's right. I forgot all about the money. I forgot all about it. I was all about the thrill, the ride, the pride of it.
That's interesting. From what I understand, I don't think that's the case, but I could totally see that being the short film.
I was transported by that scene. I thought
that was really
an amazing scene.
It's one of those things, and not that the rest of the show wasn't good, but you're right. The first episode was just fucking
I think
on the head.
Yeah. Now to be critical, I think the rest of the show could have been summed up in about 3 or 4 episodes.
You're probably right.
The second episode, I was pissed off by the end of it. The end of the first one, I was like, this is great. End of the second episode, it was the whole let's go back kind of thing. And it ended with
I would agree, but I was mad but it was in a good way, because it's one of those things as rational people, it's like, why the fuck are you going back? Just get your shit together. But
by the end of it, we're all agreeing with
desperation, you get it.
Yeah.
Right. Not that I didn't agree with them. I was like, why the fuck are you going back? But you couldn't not understand why they're going back.
Right.
Because some people, when they're arguing, they're like, what do we have to go back to? Like, I'd rather risk it here. Which brings me to my next point. Because actually, I get it for the story, but it actually did kind of irritate me. Because going into, I think it was because the first game was red light, green light. The second game, was the second game the honeycomb game?
I think so.
And the third game was tug of war, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll look up the games real quick. But anyway, go on.
No, because there was whatever. I think the third game was tug of war. Fourth game was, because the fifth game was the glass floor. The glass. Right. So the third game was tug of war. I think the fourth game was the fucking the pebbles, or the fucking.
Oh, marbles.
Marbles, yeah.
Okay, number 2 was honeycomb. 3 was tug of war.
Okay, so 2 honeycomb, fine. So up to that point though, granted it was before that, but like it was like, okay, as long as you do what you got to do,
Yeah.
you'll survive.
You could win.
You could survive.
I was making that point too. Yeah.
And then when the tug of war came around, it was
Right.
like, okay. So now
it's elimination.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Someone's got to die.
Yeah.
Because hypothetically, in the first 2 games, everyone could get out there alive.
Everyone could have won, yeah. And I really liked that theme where they were going with that.
Me too.
Is that, everyone could, and they just split whatever's left.
Yeah, because in theory, it makes more sense why you'd want to go back anyway. Because it's like you're in charge of your own. You have your own,
Right.
constitution.
We all could win.
Yeah, and so you're not trying to hurt anybody. But then once the tug of war scene comes up,
it's like,
yeah, and then the marbles, and then that's where it was like, all right.
Even with the 5th game with the glass stepping
That
thing, one gave me so much anxiety.
Same. As soon as they explained it, I was like, oh.
Because you could have won. The first guy could have won.
Yeah.
Insanely unlikely, but it's that same kind of thing that he could have won.
But that one, as soon as they said, I was like,
so
fuck.
good.
Especially when they started like pushing each other.
Yeah.
I was like, but at the same time, I kind of, and granted, what's the phrase, Monday morning quarterbacks?
Yeah.
I was like, I would jump near the middle. So at least I could try to grab I don't know. I was trying I was like, I would, that's not against the rule.
That was an what's the word? Designed.
Yeah.
Because they had the 2 beams on the glass thing, and it's like, why don't you walk along the beams instead?
Yeah, well, so that's what I know. I think the rule said that you had to jump on one of them.
Okay,
but that's what, it didn't say you couldn't recover.
Right. Okay.
Which is why every time I would have jumped, I would have kind of jumped near the middle.
Yeah.
So if it broke, grab.
Sure. Okay.
Granted, with the momentum, it probably wouldn't have worked, but at least I could have tried. But no, that whole scene, I was just the whole time.
That was
like,
a great,
and then
great idea.
I will say, because it's like it's a fair shot for everyone. That was the big thing where they killed the doctor, because it's like everyone's equal here, and he had a leg up.
Yeah.
So they killed. I was like, okay, everyone's equal here. And then when the one guy during that game found out how to figure out the
plexiglass,
and they're like, okay, lights out. I was like, fuck you. I was like, no, that's I was like, that's not fucking right.
You changed the rules, man.
Yeah, that's not fucking right. Just because he found out a way to.
But did they change the rules, or did they even the playing field again? He had the edge. He was
in that case. I would say no. They changed. Granted, there wasn't a rule the light had to be on, but it wasn't like the playing field was being unevened.
Okay.
He just kind of knew how to play.
Okay.
And so I don't know.
Yeah.
What I was not disappointed, because you could see it coming that what's his name 456 and his friend were going to be the last 2. You kind of knew that, you saw it coming. But
after the old guy was removed in marbles, it was like, okay, it's going to be those 2.
And the way he did Ollie.
That was baller. It was dark and like a bummer, but it was the most baller thing.
It was clever.
That was.
But poor Ollie.
Man, that was good though.
But anyway, what I was going to say though is, so Squid Game, which
it's the one name we remember.
Yeah, Ollie. The Squid Game, I that must have been a South Korean thing, because I've never played that fucking game as a kid.
Yeah, same.
Still, the explanation they had in the beginning, that the opening scene, the first episode, it is a team game.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, that's obviously gonna be the last game.
Interesting.
And so going into it, when it was the 3 of them, I was like,
what's gonna
okay, and then she died, so it was 1-on-1. I was like, fine, but I would have kind of liked to see the team play
a 3-way Squid Game,
or even if the criminal guy didn't die on the glass thing.
Oh,
and it was like maybe him and the crazy bitch and someone else, and then it was like 456, the North Korean. I don't know. Seeing the team aspect would have been cool.
That would have been kind of cool. But I mean, for the formula, it had to be the last 2.
Yeah, of course, they set it up to where it had to be.
It was like, going into it, it's like that would have been cool, but that'd have been a lot of work. We understand. It would have asked the audience a lot to understand.
Yeah, but no,
So-
the way they did it made sense, especially because 456, which like I said, I'm horrible with names, but our main guy,
Yeah.
you kind of see him regain his humanity, because he won't kill the guy,
Right.
he won't let him die.
Right.
He wasn't going to win the game, because then he would get killed.
Yeah.
And then you kind of know the guy killed himself. Like, you saw it coming. But
I didn't see it coming.
I saw it coming.
I didn't see it coming. That was
coming.
crazy. Yeah.
But no, I thought that it was fine.
Did you? Were there any reveals that you called? Like called that?
So I think you might agree with me when number 1, the old guy.
Yeah.
When they didn't show him die,
I
was like, okay, you've seen everyone die
Right.
in this fucking game.
No, I took that as when they didn't when we went around the corner, we heard the gunshot, but we didn't see it. At the time, I was like, okay, it's kind of cool that they didn't show that, because no one wants to see the old guy get shot.
I can see that.
I could kind of like
I can
that.
see
And
that.
then after like halfway through the episode, I was like, hang on, he didn't He didn't die because they were talking about the host. They had the front man, the masked guy who's a front man turned out to be the brother, which I called, by the way. I called the policeman's brother.
I kind of called that, not right away, but once he started looking through the records,
yeah, when I was like, okay, yeah. But when they showed the host and they didn't show who that was, I was like, okay, based on formula, this has to be a huge reveal who the host is. They didn't show the old guy getting shot. Hang on, so I'd kind of figured that.
I knew I called he wasn't dead.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't really sure who he was, but I was like, he's not dead because up to that point, you had seen everyone die. That was important anyway. But then the host thing kind of made sense. I didn't call it, but I was suspicious because if you rewatch the first episode, which I have, because like I said, I've watched that red light green light scene 100 times.
Awesome.
He's fucking down.
He's in it. Yeah. It just
he's
that was a great
down.
shot. That was a great shot. Yeah.
And then later on, I read about it after I knew the reveal, but like how he knew tug of war. This is how you win.
See, to speak to that, it was one of those things. I think Edgar Wright calls it popcorn logic. It's that when you're sitting and you're watching it, like you're like, cool, but it's not until you're leaving the theater that you're like, hang on, wait.
Yeah.
So he was in on it. The old guy was in on it.
That was the game that he was actually at risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of that too.
Game 4, right? It was game three. Game 3. He could have died. Like what if he didn't get into a group?
I thought of that as well. Yeah.
So that's what I was like. Okay.
I did think of that as well. I think to rationalize it, which again I agree with you, it's not rational, but to kind of rationalize it, him and his hubris, I think thought.
Maybe, yeah.
I know how to win this game. Granted, they almost fucking lost.
Yeah.
But I know how to win this game.
Yeah, what if his friend didn't suggest
step up,
the thing?
No, yeah. But I think that was in his hubris. He thought, I'm confident enough to get by this. And if I die, I die.
And true, what if he died? So what? The host died, and that would be a great selling point for the viewers. It would have been like, yeah.
But no, I started getting suspicious after we didn't see him die, and then I remembered him just being down in the first one.
Yeah, just
that's
into
when
it.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. Number one's into it.
Yeah. But so that I saw that coming. The brother, yeah, I started being suspicious when he started looking through the records, and so speaking of which, the number one guy died. We don't see him die, and he's alive. There's been theories now that Ali is not actually dead. That maybe they kept him.
Did they not show?
They didn't show him die.
Oh, okay.
You see him kind of like walking, like, where is he? Where'd he go? And then the realization of like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But you don't actually see him die, and you don't actually see the cop die. You see him go over the edge of the cliff.
He gets shot in the shoulder and he falls.
Yeah, because I actually want to know more about that.
Yeah. So
there's theories that
second season,
Ali might come back as like they recruit him or they do something, that the brother will be back, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I guess they pitched it to Netflix as a multiple series. Excuse me.
Did they really?
Or something that it's listed as a series, not like a one season series. It's listed, but there's not actually concrete plans for another season.
Okay.
But obviously, there has to be another season. A lot of people were mixed on it. I was also mixed on how it ended.
I think it'd be fine if they don't get another season. I think if it ended there and didn't continue, that's fine. If they did, if it was more anthology, like they did another Squid Game, but like a completely different cast or whatever, and maybe callbacks to the other, maybe. But I kind of like the open-ended ending. That sometimes that is an ending, open-ended. But.
It's not that it's. I don't like it being open-ended. I don't know. It just one. I know it's a different culture. The red hair bothered me. It's a different culture. I get it. I was just like, really? Anyway, but
I'll get one thing I do remember thinking and watching the first or second episode. I mean, early on or whatever, and I was talking to my wife about it, and you'll have to go with me on this.
Yeah.
It was kind of a good thematic thing. Maybe I read too much into it, kind of thing. But I remember watching it, and they're obviously showing the game. They show the front man on TV, and he's like broadcasting it. And I'm thinking, it could be doable. Like they would broadcast this horrible shit, and people would pay to watch it. Well, how would you distribute that? Would they pay $1 billion and just get the one screen? Would that be it, or would you have several people watching? Would you maybe offer them a membership fee or a reoccurring monthly fee for this streaming service that you can watch this horrible shit? Wait, hang on. What are we watching it on? We're watching it on a subscription for Netflix that we pay monthly and get to watch this kind of stuff. So there was a kind of a metaphor for what we pay to watch this horrible stuff, kind of like what the rich people in the movie in the show were paying to watch. I thought it was kind of a weird, like, oh, it's a metaphor for Netflix. It's a metaphor for streaming services. Like
maybe.
This could be real. This could be real, and we wouldn't know. Obviously it wasn't. But I liked that it's kind of, whereas in the past when you'd have these shows, I'm trying to think of an example, I can't think of one, where the rich watch, the poor doing horrible stuff and they enjoy it, like The Purge.
Yeah, sure.
Or stuff like that. Where they hunt humans, all those kind of movies and whatnot. And it's like, okay, well, today streaming services are just so many of them.
Someone could probably slip this by.
You could probably get by, and maybe not just the super rich. Maybe if you pitched it to enough people, like Gamer. Remember the movie Gamer with Gerard Butler? Yeah. That kind of thing. Or Death Race with Jason Statham, where everyone was watching. Or even
The Condemned.
Condemned, yeah. Same kind of thing. Or Hunt, was that movie that just came?
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It seems more likely, rather than an elite core group watching this illegal shit, it'd be more likely, like Gamer was, to have the collective of the population pay their $10 a month and watch.
Well, I think the difference is for Gamer and The Condemned, it was like criminals who are on death row or no chance of getting out. So it's like, fucking use them. Whereas in this one, it was actually just citizens volunteering.
People who surrendered their rights.
So I guess
could quit at any time.
Technically, you're correct.
Yeah, but I thought it was a fun kind of little. Oh, all right. Yeah.
I guess there's a point to be made there. You just reminded me, and I forgot about it. What I did it made me laugh because when they did bring in the VIPs, with their fucking goofy ass masks,
that killed it for me.
I was fine with it. What was funny, I was kind of like, I'm not sure if double-edged sword is the right term, but it was kind of funny because I was like, man, these fucking dubs are just over the top.
But
and then it was Erica, my girl. She was like, "That's not dubbed. Watch their lips." Because I wasn't at that point. And I was like, "What?" And I was looking. I was like, "Oh,
that's just."
And then she pointed out, she's like, "This is South Korean writer writing fucking Americans the way." And I was like, "No argument.
Yeah,
that's the way the world looks at us. Yeah. These fucking over the top,
should have been offended,
fat people, huh?
Yeah, should have been offended.
No, yeah, it just made me laugh though. Because at first I thought thoroughly that was dubbed.
Yeah,
and then she's like, "This isn't dubbed. Like they're actually American." I was like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "This is how they think Americans talk." And I was like, "Okay."
I've seen that increasingly now in a few, I guess specifically Asian movies. Like I think it was Ip Man 3 or something that involved the British guy coming in and having Mike Tyson for some reason fucking fight Ip Man and whatever. And it was, but the British guy spoke English in this Chinese film. And his Brit is over enunciating, over the top, horrible dialogue in English, and I'm like, is that how he'd sound?
It's Did you ever watch Faulty Towers?
Oh yeah.
So do you remember the episode where the couple comes and the husband's American? He's the one that like pays him to keep the kitchen open, but he doesn't. Oh
yeah.
So like that guy,
vaguely.
It was very much like, I'm an American and I want this and that. It's just funny, like, oh, that's who we are to them.
It's also
this
funny
fucking guy asking for his Waldorf salad.
They probably they showed Squid Game and all the South Koreans were watching it like, clearly
it was American. And they probably just kept the voices.
And dubbed in hilarious.
No, but that made me laugh. That moment made me laugh too.
It was I don't know. It was on par for me like the elites in The Purge or whatever, where it was kind of like, okay, you have a great idea, you didn't ruin it, but you kind of went over the top with like the elitism kind of thing, and it's like it was one thing to be kind of subtle about it, like, okay, the elites are watching this, they're getting a rise out of it. It's another thing when it's in your face about it. It's like, hey, I don't know if you noticed, but it's the rich people. They're watching the poor people. Yeah. Look at the rich people. Aren't they horrible? See how horrible they act? We'll bring them on. Now act horrible. Okay. Yeah. See, they're horrible rich people.
Well, even and that's where I didn't mind it too much, but as as far as the storytelling, because I think the show is great, but as far as storytelling, the question always comes in: how much shit do you want to bring into the story? Because if they just went straight through, again, I'm bad at names, 4, 5, 6, the main guy.
Yeah.
If they just kept it in the game.
Yeah.
And granted, I actually liked the cop story with the brother.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I did too.
But even that aside, if they just strictly kept it, we don't know what the fuck is going on behind the scenes. We don't know about the elite, any of this shit. All we know is these people are playing childhood games and dying. Like, that was a fine story on its own to carry the show.
Yeah.
So they added all these other elements in.
Right.
Fine. But there is the question of could they have like gotten deeper into the psychology, all this stuff of being in the games.
Sure. Yeah.
And granted, I didn't hate the whole idea of like the cop, and I think that's why they brought the elites in, because the cop story, they needed him to see it.
It's more, it appeals to more audience, where I think like you and I get more into, okay, the character, the deep, dark, whatever. You're right. The general population just doesn't care about.
Well, they want to know where is this? Where is that? Why is this happening?
What are the elites? We want to see the elites. I mean, it was a movie, a good example of what I was hoping for. It was ruined by its sequels, but the movie Taken, when they finally show guys buying it, they're dark. They don't show them. They're dark, like lit. You know, you can't see who they are. I mean, they weren't literally dark. I'm not saying that, but no, but like you never saw the real bad guys, the real movers behind.
And that's a great example, because even though you do kind of learn about the whole sex trafficking trade, you don't see like the whole thing.
You don't see the shark.
You don't. You don't get all the answers.
Right.
You just see what Liam Neeson sees, and that's all you need to fucking know.
It made it so much more scary, and I think
it was more intimate. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they went with 4, 5, 6, never seeing the elites and just knowing as this dark force in the background, that's controlling everything, it removes it. It's that shark that's under the water, and you don't see it. It keeps it scary. So sure. I think I think but granted, we want to see right. We want to see the shit.
Because you do ask the question, well, what's going on behind the scenes? Who's behind it? Yeah. And I think there's a time and place to answer that. And they did. It was still a great show, even with it. But I do ask that question of, because even as a writer, sometimes when I'm writing a story, even I fall into that trap of like, well, I need to explain everything behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when in reality, sometimes if you don't, it's better.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Perfect example, going off of that, is the Joker in The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
You don't know shit about him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You see. The origin story of Jack Nicholson's Joker in the original one, and it was fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But part of the Joker in The Dark Knight that was so good is you really don't fucking know. You just it's just this agent of chaos that is just causing havoc, and it was great because you don't know what the fuck this person's capable of because you don't know anything about him. And so even though it was cool the way they did explain the backstory, what could have been cool is if, which we'll go into. We were going to do the EverAfter of this.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Good idea.
The second season could have been what the cop was doing. But now it's 4, 5, 6.
That was another bummer with all the reveals they did. Was like, okay, where do you go from here? Mm-hmm. Now all the questions are answered. I mean, well, most of the questions.
They're like answered and not answered at the same time. Yeah. But like that could have been the next one, kind of like you said, a whole new class, if you will.
Ure.
But now 4, 5, 6 is kind of like that cop trying to get in and trying to figure out what's going on and get his revenge.
Yeah.
So, and he could be a supporting character now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like the cop was.
Or Leonard Nimoy in the Star Trek reboots. It was kind of like he just pops in,
just appears,
says his 2 lines, gets his $1 million, and goes.
And the question too is if the cop didn't die.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 made contact with that cop, if you remember.
Yeah.
So they can now work together to get back to the island, and it could be a whole thing. But
those Koreans suck at writing, man. We should have wrote this. It
was so much better.
This sucks.
No, but to sum it up, I thought the show was. It was a fresh, unique take on a common genre now.
Yeah, and I see the cause for all the popularity it's gotten.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not the best show I've ever seen, but some of the best scenes I've ever seen. It was some of the best scenes I've seen.
It was good because it was one of those things where it was critical of kind of like the bad sides of capitalism without just shitting on capitalism.
Right. Yeah. It was kind of and also it was cool to see. It wasn't. This is a whole other thing because like all the movies that are coming out now about poor people is just like poor people did no wrong. They are just poor because the system hates them. And this one, it was like, no, these are shitty people. They made mistakes. With money, they show did them bad things. Mistakes. Yeah. You walk through their mistakes with them when he's at the racetracks and shit like that. So,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's one of those things, like I said, there's critiques of capitalism in it without shitting on capitalism.
For me, yeah, exactly. That's what reminded me of it. For me, it made it instantly more enjoyable because I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I can see myself making those mistakes and being desperate and wanting to do it. Yeah. The system isn't against me. I'm just a dickhead.
Yeah. And I will say, too, because I meant to say it earlier, the woman who played the North Korean chick who's really quiet, I thought if that chick... Because I heard that a lot of these people were actually like models in North or South Korea.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
And she is. And I thought she was fucking amazing. Because it was almost like
talent's wasted as a model,
right? No, it was almost the antithesis of what's her fucking name who played in Twilight, the chick,
the main girl in that.
Yeah, what was her actress name?
What is her name? Thompson? Emma? No,
it wasn't Emma. Anyway, the chick who played, it's gonna kill me.
Bella in Twilight.
Bella, yeah. The joke was at the time she only had one face for everything.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was like the antithesis of her, because the chick who played in the North Korean chick in this film, or this show, sorry. Did you get the name?
I'm looking.
Oh.
Kristen Stewart.
There
we go. Now get to your
But that was the joke, that Kristen Stewart has like one facial expression for
but-
everything. So this actress, she had like one facial expression for everything, but it fucking worked.
Oh, yeah.
Because it fucking worked. Because like if it was a bad scene, like she was just like fuck. Because you could tell like she was just in it. Like she was like just trying to survive. And then the one scene where like she did have to emote, where like the one other chick like pretty much spilled her guts and then sacrificed herself.
Yeah.
And she just broke down. I was like,
so good. It made it worth it.
Fuck.
You were waiting for it, and then there it was.
Like
it's so good.
She was so phenomenal because, like I said, she had the same fucking face all the time.
Yeah.
But still emotional range every scene. It was fucking. You can't. That's not something you learn. That's something you fucking.
Do you think that? Well, do you think that was partial training from being a model? Because the models train incessantly about just subtle differences in facial expressions and
could be
body language.
You know what? It could be.
Yeah,
it could be. But I've seen it in a few actors that they can have the same facial expression, but maybe it's the eyes, something subtle.
Right.
It's the emotional range with one face.
Have you watched America's Top Model? Next Top Model.
A long time ago.
Okay, well, if you watched it as actively as I do, which I don't, but that's one of the things they constantly talk about is like with lame eyes or layman's eyes, looking at a pose, you're just like, okay, it's a pretty person in front of a picture. But they work so much about, okay, no, you're purveying something, an emotion, a item or something with just a face and just your body language. Can you grab it? So maybe that's what gave her the edge as far as...
It could be. It could be. And you're right, maybe with the model angle on it. To me, it's always been just one of those qualities that you're born with.
Okay, yeah.
But it could be the angle.
It could be both.
It could be both.
We'll say both.
But I just remember like thinking, I was like, this is one of those things I was like, this actress is not good, but she's so amazing. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, and then the scene where she does break down obviously brought out her acting talent because it was an amazing scene. I got choked up by it. But like just even before that and after that, just the subtleties, right? Her face never changes, but it's still just running the emotional range. It was fucking amazing.
It might be one of those things where I'd have to learn Korean. I'd have to be fluent in Korean and see a broad spectrum of Korean acting to see her speaking lines to see whether she was good or not as a speaking actor.
Okay,
because you know as well as anyone, as much as anyone, you know very well that there's a big difference between acting physically and acting speaking wise.
Line delivery, yeah.
Keanu Reeves is a great actor when they don't give him any lines. And then once he has lines, it's like, oh, God damn it.
He's not good at line delivery. Yeah.
So,
I see what you're saying.
So this actress could be a John Wick situation where because she didn't have very many lines, she was just great at it.
And maybe, we didn't hear the lines.
Exactly. We don't know. Yeah. So if we heard, maybe. I might be right. She might be phenomenal. But
I was, because even 456, the main guy, he wasn't the greatest actor. He was good. He was good, but he wasn't great.
I need a less racist term than Asian acting. But like every region has its film and every region has its own spin on films. Like I'll bring it back home. The American Westerns, if you watch the old Westerns, they had their own cliche Western acting kind of thing.
Even talking about like even Bollywood and Mexico with their...
Exactly. So it's not racist, it's regionist.
Sure. No, I get what you're saying.
But if you watch a lot of, which I have, a lot of kung fu movies and martial arts films, you eventually see that cliche eye acting kind of thing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
yes.
that he would resort to sometimes. I watched a film called 13 Assassins.
I know it. I haven't seen it.
It was a Japanese film about, is a story that's been told a million times. Is just a more modern take. It was one of the first films I'd ever seen, a Japanese film that broke all the stereotypes. It didn't do any of the stereotypes. It was just like it was a great film. And then, so I don't know where I was going with that.
No, I see what you mean, because I said he wasn't the greatest actor, but you're kind of saying it's more of that style. I think he went
to that cliche style of the area he came from. Like Americans have their weird, like they cry in all their movies. It's like what we do.
But even to contrast that, in a sense, again, names, the friend who turns out to be a prick. He's the one that dicks over Aldi and all that. Like his style of acting was very straightforward and very subtle,
exactly.
very calm.
I would not be surprised to find that the friend was a more accomplished actor, went abroad and acted in several places,
but at least got the training from somewhere else.
Right. Whereas the main guy was probably a huge hit in Korea, and he plays to his audience.
And you know what though, the different styles kind of match the characters anyway.
Definitely. Yeah,
so it worked. It worked. But yeah, so no, Anyway, it was, I think...
I'll probably get canceled for those comments.
Well, we need a controversial.
We need a controversial. We got it.
But what you're saying is actually true. Absolutely true, because there is different styles of act. Even in America, there's different styles of acting depending on what kind of genre you're doing.
It's partly where you come from and like what you grow up with, but it's mostly the audience you're playing to
and the genre of the movie.
Yeah, no,
I completely get it.
You mentioned Bollywood. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have these crazy elaborate kind of things, but that's what the audience loves.
Well, even there are separate classes. A lot of people. I mean, it's one of those things that it's not obvious until you hear it, then it seems obvious. Uh-huh. There are classes to act for children. For children's shows and children's theater, because it really is a different style of acting.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that shit. Like you put me in like a sitcom, like 2.5 Men, kind of like adult themed. I'm fine. You put me in fucking Disney's iCarly, not the new one is apparently adult themed, but the old one, like I wouldn't fit at all.
Just can't do it.
Yeah, but because there is a style of acting for children, you get to be a little bit more bigger.
Is that
like
ageist or it's playing to
it's
that
a style.
It's
a style. It's a genre.
It works on what era you grew up in too, what time you grew up, because actors in the 40s were very different from the actors in the 60s and 70s.
Absolutely different from now. Yeah,
different from now.
If you look at acting in the 80s and early 90s, super different.
Exactly.
From now.
So it's not racist. Everybody, calm down.
No, I don't think it's all racist. If it gets
the more I say I'm not racist, the worse the society.
If it gets controversial to where we get more viewers,
whatever.
If one of us has to go on CNN, then fine.
I'll bear that cross.
Okay.
I'll go on CNN.
I'm not going to fight you.
That's all right. Been wanting to meet Anderson Cooper since The Mole.
Perfect.
Did you ever see that? Remember that?
No.
The Mole. It was like a reality show.
Yeah, I remember. I just didn't care for it.
Anderson Cooper hosted.
He did. That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing things.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyway, we're running long. Are we running long?
Not long as normal, but a little long from our normal goal now. We're running a little long.
I thought, hey, maybe if it's just two of us, we'll run shorter. Nope.
No. Because it's just so good that we just want to keep going.
We just want to keep going. We know you want to listen too.
But sum it up, absolutely. Squid Game. It's one of those things like when you hear about a new show, especially now we're in the age of long form shows.
Yeah.
Miniseries
kind of.
Yeah, like drama shows. And a lot of times you hear about one and it's overrated, or you hear about it, it's a big pop, but it's like, This one I think met the
expectations.
Met the expectation, met the hype, because I think and I'm not trying to hipster this out, I think I started watching it just before the hype.
Oh, okay.
Because I literally was, like I said, I was sitting in the hotel room.
Yeah.
Erica was sleeping. And it was just on, and I was playing Plants vs. Zombies, the original one on my computer.
You hipster.
Yeah, just because I wasn't tired, and so I was like, I'll put a fucking movie on. Or I'll put something on. I've seen this kind of. I'll play it, and I found myself just watching it. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. She was sleeping. I watched like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. There's a few of them out there, but that one, one, it's really good. So if you haven't seen it yet, sorry, because
I think it's a good show, and I think it was worth the hype. It met the hype.
Yeah.
Having seen it before the hype, I think it met the hype.
Yeah. The only hype that I've seen is like, okay, this Halloween, which was last week. Okay.
I almost bought one of the masks. I almost did it.
That's the crazy, like the popular meme. Before when it was first coming out, it's like that's what everyone. Halloween 2021 is always going to be the Squid Game staff. But
yeah, no, absolutely.
I hope so. That was a pretty good costume.
No, but so overall, I'll give it an A.
An A. Okay.
Not an A plus, but I'll give it an A.
I would give it a 7 or an 8
out of 10.
You give the letter grade, I'll give the number.
Well, no, so you give it a B. And I can actually see B plus. I was actually gonna maybe modify mine to A minus because it was good, but there were those things like we said that could have been a little better.
If it wasn't so like it was something that's been done before, but they did it in its own way, and that's what brought it up from a C in my opinion. Because the writing was, in my opinion, predictable. The acting was just okay. So I would have given it a C plus-ish, but I'm really critical, I think.
I do. No, I think you're right, because a lot of it was predictable to an extent, but they did which is hard to do these days. They did bring a fresh take on the genre.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that you're right. That does bring it up because fresh, unique ideas are always appreciated.
Yeah. So
I agree with that.
B plus, A minus, B plus.
Because I was going to say maybe A minus, but it's still good. It was good.
89, 90.
Yeah.
Really.
It's passing.
I would let it come into my office to make the case for an A minus, and I'd listen to it. You know, if I gave it a B plus,
you give it the chance.
I'd give it a B plus, and it came into my office like, look, I really need this. Well, you know, explain why you think you deserve an A minus. I'd listen to it, and then I'd give it an A minus.
The students showed up every day.
Yeah, I'd give it a. You know what? For a South Korean film, A minus. You know, I'm gonna make that curve. That was for the effort.
What was the film that came out a couple years ago from South Korea?
Parasite.
Oh, I saw a meme where it was like, when you only see two things come out of South Korea, and the quote was, you know, really, Squid Game is kind of an homage to Parasite. And that was the meme. Like, you've only seen two things. You've only seen two things.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I have not seen Parasite, so I can't
haven't
comment.
either.
But I was like, yeah, that's most white people in America. It's clearly an homage to Parasite.
Oh man, you know they're gonna mention Squid Game at the Oscars, or did the Oscars already happen?
No, they happened like January, February.
Oh, okay, then never mind. Who cares?
And you know what though, and what on the comedic side of it, that show, the way it was set up, just opens up the unlimited memes, unlimited parody. Not to say the show's bad, because it's not. It's good, but the way it was set up, like, so it's so susceptible to parody, satire,
it's
and
coming.
memes. It's
Yeah.
great. It's
SNL
great.
already did one little thing about it. I thought was pretty funny.
I'm sure the douchebags who made the Scary Movie series and all that bullshit, Vampires Suck. What was Meet the Spartans? All that shit.
God.
They'll probably do a Octopus Game,
Squid movie.
yeah, or Octopus Game, or Squid Match.
Ooh. I'm sorry. Go back to one thing I really loved. I don't want to forget it. Is the marble during the marbles scene where the old guy was being all delirious and shit, and then finally said, revealed to him that he knew what he was doing. He revealed to 456 what he knew he was doing. That got me. I was like, oh shit.
So
I got invested there.
So this will be our final thing.
Okay.
I think that scene was great.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, does he know what he's doing? I kind of in the back of my head, I was like, does he know what he's doing? Especially because it was kind of prolonged.
Yeah.
It was being stretched out. And I was kind of like, all right. In my head, I was like, I think he knows.
Okay.
I think he's fucking with him.
Yeah.
And not to mention, that was his out. Tug of war aside, that was, he needs out. He needs to get out. And there was even like someone commenting that, if you remember, he was trying to hide in the corner, not getting a partner.
Oh, yeah.
Because... And you think about it, like, because he just wants out. But no, I thought it was really good. I liked that scene with him. I think it was a little stretched out a little bit, but that whole marble scene in general was just a fucking anxiety attack.
Yeah. It was like I said, I think the whole show, it would have been an easy A for me if the whole show was maybe about half the length as well. I think it was like 9 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
If they brought it down to 4 or 5.
Which they could have done, like we said, if they focused it on just one aspect of the story.
If they didn't have the black market organs thing and all that, you remember that could have been a whole episode.
And you know what? I didn't mind. We didn't even bring that up. You're right. I think I mentioned the doctor, and that was it. It just seemed
crowbarred, in my opinion. It was like, we needed filler. We need to draw this out.
It did seem. I think they just brought. So there's, and you've written before, so you know that when you need certain things, so you need to bridge them. I feel like they only created that to give the cops something to do.
I think it was that, and also they needed to drive home the point that this was supposed to be an even playing
Maybe,
field.
yeah. But it did seem...
But also the cops something to do.
Yeah, because it did seem like one of those things where... And this is a critique of mine in certain genres of film and I just sounded fucking pretentious as shit right now. No, but a certain thing that bugs me... For example, we're going a little long, but to finish my point, did you watch Dexter?
Yes.
I think it was season 5.
Did not see that. I watched the first 2 seasons. But
all right, season 5 was Julia Stiles. I'm not going to go into the details, but pretty much season 4 was, in my opinion, the best season of Dexter.
Okay.
Season 5 came, and it wasn't bad to watch, but literally, aside from maybe 1 or 2 small details, if you skipped season 5, you went from season 4 to season 6 with... Again, just a few small details.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fucking matter.
Wow. Okay.
Because if you watch it, did you see when his wife died?
I think so. I don't remember.
So that was season 4 when Dexter's wife is killed.
I didn't know he got married. Okay.
Oh, well then, sure.
Shit, okay.
But so in season 4, his wife is killed in the final episode. Okay. And that's how it ends.
Okay.
So season 5, he meets this Julia Stiles, and like he goes to this thing, kind of getting over his wife. Season 6, he's not over it, but like he's moved on.
Okay.
But outside of that, the events of season 5 don't fucking make a difference.
So that was kind of like the organ donor.
And that's the organ donor thing. Like, yeah, they kill the fucking doctor. They make a point. Like, everyone's equal here. Yeah. But outside of that, it didn't really...
See, initially I was like, this was just dumb. It was just crowbarred in. We just needed filler to make this longer so we could make more episodes. But then because they rounded it up with that, this is supposed to be an even playing field, it kind of drove that point really home about how even it was supposed to be. And that's why I'm like conflicted. I'm like, okay, do we need all of that necessarily? But I don't know.
You're right though in that instinct, because like I feel like if we didn't, let's say we don't know anything about that. Okay. Even the cop story aside. Yeah. Like, we don't know anything about that.
All we know is the doctor had an edge.
Yeah, because you see him saying like, I know the next game. I know the next game. And so they wake up one day, the doctor's fucking hanging. These people are hanging, and then and he's like, hey. This is what's going on. Yeah. Doctor had to deal with these people. He had an edge up. You're all equal. Don't fuck with us. The same point with I'm just adding on to your point. The same point would have gotten across without all this filler.
That's true. That's true.
Because I as a writer sometimes we don't trust the audience. So we feel the need
to explain
everything. Yeah. When sometimes you don't need to.
It would have just been good on its own.
Yeah.
But,
No, I get the point, and I feel the same, because at the end of the day, when it happened, I was like, so this literally did nothing.
Yeah. I think every critic goes down this line too, like how it would have been better written or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like filler.
Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
But you're right, it was filler, and I'm sure, and it did have a little bit of a butterfly effect where even like the crime guy now, the crazy bitch was like, that's why you survived, because he was on your side. Now you're fucked.
Because you're on my level.
Yeah, and so there was other, ramifications, but at the end of the day, you could have taken it out and nothing would have changed.
They would have saved time. Yeah. Anyway, good show. I mean, we should definitely include in the description that we have spoilers for this and Dexter.
Fuck. You've had time. You've had time. Dexter's been out.
What is it you described the spoiler curve, that there's a point where...
So I've gotten it from the Jack of All Nerds as well.
Okay.
For a movie... Yeah. It's 2 weeks out.
Oh, really? That's quick. Okay.
That's the Jack of All Nerds. That's what they do for their reviews. They give it 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And then they'll do a spoiler review.
Okay.
And I think, to me, for the big movies, that's fair. 2 weeks, you have time to see it. Yeah. Streaming in theater, whatever. For shows, excuse me, if it's a show that's like Squid Game, where it's just all released at once, I would give it a month.
Okay. Yeah.
So people who are busy have time to sit and watch it and whatever. And I think it's been out for over
a month or two.
Yeah. So that's fine. Dexter, fuck off. You've had time.
Dexter was dead the whole time.
Dexter, he was dead the entire time. And they're bringing the new season back, and I read a fucking synopsis.
Are they really?
You didn't hear about that?
I heard about it. I didn't know it was real.
No, they are. They're bringing it back. The synopsis doesn't sound awful.
Okay.
It just...
oozes of a cash grab?
A cash grab, maybe to try to fix... Because you didn't watch the...
No, I didn't.
The ending was... It wasn't horrible. It was one of those things. The ending made sense. It just wasn't satisfying.
Gotcha.
It was like meh. Whereas like I heard one theory, like, what if it would be great if the last scene in the show is that he got caught, he's in prison, and the narration you've heard is his last words the entire season or the entire show.
Yeah.
That theory would have been cool. There's a lot of cool theories, but it ended and it was just kind of like a disappointment.
This is how I would have written the Star Wars prequels.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But so the new show's coming out, and I read like the premise, and it doesn't sound horrible. It's just kind of like you have to answer a lot of fucking questions. Because if I'm not gonna go into it because we're already over. But for the way the show ended and the way this premise begins, parts of it make sense, and there's other parts where it's like there's questions that need to bridge the gap.
Okay.
But But anyway, yes.
We'll see how that goes. Squid Game and Dexter, man.
Yeah. Same universe.
Yeah. Hey, Thanksgiving's coming up. Happy Thanksgiving too.
Yeah. When it comes.
Yeah.
We'll have a Thanksgiving episode.
Sweet.
Maybe two.
Cool. Well, yeah.
For Mitch, I'm Mike.
I'm Mitch.
I said for Mitch.
Gotcha. I'm wasted.
For Mitch. Bye.
Bye.